Hey, welcome everybody to my review on Ninja Gaiden. So the game starts out with a real cool comic book aesthetic. The cutscene comes in and it's just telling you about the story and what's happened to your protagonist. And I just love the bright color palette that is in the cutscene. Really gives like comic book Saturday morning vibes, and that's something that I love. It appeals to my inner nerd and my inner cartoon lover. And if you are like me and you're a little bit of a nerd when it comes to comics and cartoons, it's something that might appeal to you too. Definitely gives badass ninja vibes, right? And then even the fucking title is like called Scroll of Dimension, and I'm just like, it's small stuff like that where I'm just like, that sounds interesting. Like, I'm intrigued. I'm already intrigued. Like, so you jump into the game, right? You get this bright color palette that is just hitting you in the face, neon colors. You get the cyberpunk aesthetic, and that's really, really cool, really dope, and it gives you that high energy vibe that you're ready to kick some ass. You know, the cyberpunk aesthetic is really dope. Music is moving and great from track 1 all the way to the end of the game. There is not one track here that missed. It all slaps. Even you have like a hub world, like a hub type area where you can buy upgrades and stuff. Even that music goes hard, bro. Hard. And so none of the music is wasted or anything like that. The song in the background of the review I'm doing is the first track level. Let me see you another, or let me give you guys snippets of a couple other tracks. Yeah, so combat was fun from start to finish. From the beginning, I could already double jump, wall climb, teleport in any direction, and then they give me this head decapitating special melee ability, which is just satisfying right off the jump. You're just slashing through like 10 guys at a time and decapitating their heads off. It's so cool, you know. And the pixel decapitation graphics are really, really satisfying. It doesn't show a lot of blood, but it's enough to make it feel satisfying and make it feel meaningful, you know. So anyway, yeah, I get these beginning abilities, and I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm just like, they knew which abilities to give you the instant power fantasy right off the back, the adrenaline rush, and the gratification of turning somebody into a complete bloody mess. You know, instead of trickling some of these abilities, and I've had games where, you know, they trickle these abilities in like in level 3 or 4, you know, but they give it to you right off the back, and I'm just like, so wait, you give me these abilities right off the back. What the rest of the game gonna be like? You know, like. So speedy combat and screen shakes on contact of hits make combat feel really dynamic, really engaging. They're really generous with the combat actually. So you can actually jump off of a teleport and combo it into a wall climb, and that makes for real fun, engaging boss battles and platforming. Even if you don't like platforming, you might enjoy it here, and hopefully so, because that is a lot of the game, right? But you can also teleport off of getting hit out of the air, so that's really, really handy too. And these abilities in the early game make platforming, like I said, it makes it fun. It turns into a dance of how you move through the world as a ninja really would, and it's especially good for speed runners. Traps are really intelligently placed, right? And it makes you exercise your abilities and use your quick reflexes, especially at the higher levels. And you also have an SP bar that regenerates, and the SP bar is where I'm going to get to in a second, talking about that. But using your SP bar and having it regenerate ensures that there's always an option for every situation, ensuring ensuring fluid, fast combat and movement. So back to the SP bar, there are special moves like teleport, melee, special moves, and even kunai throwing that use what's SP. SP bar is the bar right under your health. You'll see it refilling as you see the video go on. And SP moves give you, SP moves are pretty much like instant decapitation, like the move I was talking about earlier. You can steal health from enemies, you can do an EMP stun, and you can lay down bomb traps. So that's really cool. And there's also a separate set of moves that you get called EX moves that work more or less like magic. You can surround yourself with fire, you can turn yourself invisible to avoid attacks temporarily, all attacks temporarily, wink wink, and all of these play a very important part in fluidly getting through the levels and defeating your enemies. The power-ups are really paced very well throughout the game. New abilities come and unlock pretty much every level. You know, the game does not waste your time at all. And that's what I like about these smaller games. They don't waste their time. They give you what they need to give you. They don't bloat it, you know, and it's not, you always feel that sense of awards and renewed interest because you're getting new things to constantly evolve combat situations and making sure that pretty much it boils down to having new ways of blowing people up. You know, so and it was funny because even on the second level they're just like, you're going to get so much more power, and I'm like, you already gave me all this, like what else you gonna give me? Like, and it does get cooler. It does. The fluidity of movement in the game makes playability just that much more fun, you know, like it makes it not a slog, like especially if you're into trophy collecting or secret collecting, you know, the fluidity of the game is just, it's really good, it's really addicting, and it gives good replay value. Me personally, the replay value for me is just being able to master the flow of combat, you know, similar to something like Batman Arkham, Doom Eternal, or DMC, like that. When you play it right and you're playing it and you're flowing and you're using everything at your disposal and you're just, you feel the flow, you know, like not on some Yu-Gi-Oh shit, but you feel the flow, you know, and it's an addictive feeling that keeps you coming back. Boss difficulty is properly scaled with the rest of the game. I didn't feel like anything was overly hard or overly done. The difficulty in general was properly done. It's like, I would say it's like mid-level. If you're new to platformers or you're not that great at them, I think this gives you enough tools to make it fun and a fun experience, especially when you combine it with the combat. And then if you're somebody that has a high challenge level for platformers, then I mean, you can still have some fun with it. It might not give you the most challenge in the world, but it's still fun, and the story is also interesting. So getting to the story, I'm a sci-fi nerd, and they combine ninjas and sci-fi elements like dimensional travel together, so that's really cool. I do love time travel and all that stuff, and there's so many ways to implement it, so there's always a cool, interesting way. It is applied in a more basic way here, but it does what it needs to do. It's not overly drawn out or complicated, and it still provides an interesting plot point. Plus, the way they made the game end as far as the story in general, it seems like they're going to set up for a sequel, so that's really awesome, and that makes me like this game even more because that means that there's room for improvement, right? So, you know, I've seen a couple reviews saying that, you know, things were a little clunky or things weren't the best, but I found it pretty tight and okay, and bringing out a second game would just allow them to kind of tighten everything up and make everything even more cool, intensive, fun, and just more of the first game. So that's really cool. And then the story actually kind of got me interested a little bit through, and then there were some nice little, you know, story plots. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I like that. And I did actually end up liking the villain once he explained himself, so, or explained his views, and I was like, all right, I get why you're doing what you're doing. Still kind of messed up, but cool. You know, so honestly, the game is about like 8 to 10 hours, depending on if you're speed running or if you are looking for all the secrets or if you end up dying a lot, you know, so take that with how you will, but it's still a great tight game. Honestly, it's really just high octane ninja fun. You know, in a world where people are demonizing walking simulators, this game is a dream, and like